Start the meeting. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our regularly scheduled meeting. Today is, I can't read it. What is it? March 4th, 2026. This is Rotary Club of Hudson. Great to see all your faces this morning. We got a good speaker this morning. I think everybody's interested in hearing what Tom has to say. He'll be introduced a little bit later. Why don't we start out with an invocation by the Right Reverend James Field. I don't know if that means anything, but I just...
Okay, we're going to start with the Shema. No, wrong audience.
Read the crowd.
So before I begin, I just want to, so I was at a reunion for my business school, and I guess they do a survey of incoming students and then follow up years later to say what is the measure of success. And early on, it's, kind of the term is hedonistic, making a lot of money, owning big house, on and on and on. They said, though, after the years, they found it was really fulfillment in terms of having your life have meaning, in helping others and that sort of thing, which fits in very well with our mission. So this is a very short one. We give thanks for the opportunity to be a Rotarian. Rotarians dig wells from which we will never drink. We know real happiness, which can only be found by helping others.
I love it. That's perfect. Thank you, James. Why don't you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance too? I throw that one in. Here's the flag here. Come on back here.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And the four-way test of the things we think, say, or do. First, the truth. Second, is it fair to all concerned? Third, goodwill and better friendships. And fourth, will it be beneficial to all concerned? All right, I think that is it. Keith, come on up and take it away.
All right, thank you. Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to our first meeting of March. As Tom was saying, it's just remarkable that we're already coming into the spring in March. The year's already beginning to fly by. So we have a very special guest today in our city manager. So I'll keep my remarks brief to allow for as much time as possible for us to have his presentation and be able to ask questions. I'd like to thank David Basil, who is probably laying on a beach somewhere in Hawaii right now, enjoying the sun. I know. Well, it's beautiful out there. I'm sure even at 2 in the morning, a beach in Hawaii is beautiful. But in any case, I want to thank Dave for setting up our speakers for this month. We will be having the Rotary Club's board meeting immediately following this meeting out in the dining hall, so all are welcome to attend. We also have the District 6630 conference coming up again. That's going to be April 24th and 25th at the Cleveland Marriott East, which is in Warrensville Heights, right off of 271, near the Pinecrest Plaza and the hospital that's up there. So again, I encourage as many members as possible to attend in order to do some networking with other groups, some other members, get some great ideas, and learn more about what the district is doing for Rotary. I'm not sure what our monthly charitable giving is at this point. Does anybody know what we're, I didn't see anything on that yet. I apologize if I missed it. Dolly Parton? Oh, the Dolly Parton Imagine Library? Okay, very good. So that's what we are going to be focusing on for our charitable giving this month. And so with that, I will turn it over to Dr. Patricia Getz, who will be introducing our speaker, Mr. Thom Sheridan, who is the Hudson City Manager. So Dr. Getz, take it away.
Thank you. I get to be Dave Basil for today. I have had the pleasure the last 2 years serving on City Council with Mr. Sheridan. As you probably know, he was Interim City Manager starting in March of 2022 and became our City Manager in October of 2022. I can say that he is extremely accessible. There have been times where I have inadvertently emailed him at 11:30 at night and he gets back right away. So you have to be careful. You don't want to keep disturbing him. So he's very accessible. He answers all of our questions. He does an incredibly good job with the staff, and we are so lucky to have him here in Hudson. He's a trained civil engineer from Youngstown State. And if you want to know anything about stormwater, ask Tom. He can tell you about that. He has worked for 35 years in civil engineering and local government, has many, many licenses and degrees. Prior to coming to Hudson, he worked in Stowe, but now lives in Hudson with his wife and his 4 children. And I am very pleased to have him come and tell you about the state of our city, which I think is really doing very well.
Thank you, Pat. I can't. Can I move this? Thank you. I didn't know I was going to have to do work today. Okay. Yeah, I got my notes here. So, hey, good morning, all Rotarians. I really appreciate you guys having me here today. Hopefully, I'll make this an exciting presentation of our state of the city, and we'll get started. There are maps and presentation paper copies for you all out in the audience there. I think they were passing them out if you don't have one. The map is of our capital projects. So, again, my name's Thom Sheridan. I'm City Manager. And I'm happy to present the 2026 State of the City, Lighting Our Legacy. It is a commitment, Lighting Our Legacy is a commitment to our history while illuminating the new paths that will define us. And I have to say that again, we are always honoring our history in everything we do in the city. And it's always somewhere in the thread of whatever we're building. And then we're also always looking for those new ideas. And Hudson has been that way. If you go back to James Ellsworth, you go back to David Hudson, all of them, they were always trying to blaze new trails. And I'll get into some of that as we progress through here. I think I'm on. Yeah. Oh, there. Real quick, this is just 3 photos of our gazebo over time and our bandstand, and the bottom one down there is the present one we have. On the right is the agenda today, and as I said to council and to the chamber, I promise I'll make this speech as fast as our fiber. So, yeah. Lucas, I'm having trouble. I'm sorry. There you go. We are a mayor, city council, city manager form of government, as most of you all know. I want to welcome our 4 new council members that we got on this year. And I think we have a really good team, and we have a lot of work ahead of us, so we don't really have a lot of time to waste. We're just moving forward with all the agenda items. Next slide. This is just our organizational chart. The citizens of Hudson, that's who we all work for, and I never forget that. I always remember who, once a councilman once told me back in Stowe days, do you treat all your councilmen this way? When he came in and met with me one day, and I didn't know he was on council, I didn't go to council meetings, and I said, no, actually, I thought you were a citizen for the city. I said, I treat everybody the same, and try to get what they need. We're here to serve them. As you see, City Council has the boards, commissions, and committees on their side. The mayor's over there with the clerk of council, and then the city manager's underneath all those, is overseeing all those departments. And it is honestly an honor to do that for me every day. I do want to thank all of our staff. They do a tremendous job, and we try to squeeze as much out of them as we can. I know Sue's here, and basically EMS and fire is going to be squeezed this year. So we got a lot of renovations, but I'll get into that in a minute. Next slide. This is just a year in review. We continue to have AAA bond rating. We have one of the best finance directors, I think, and finance teams in the state. Jeff does a fantastic job. We always have a clean audit, and we have a 56% carryover last year, which we'll be talking to council later this summer on what we might want to do with that. On the right is the most grant funding we have ever received in one single year. Last year we got $15 million. Most of that went to the railroad crossing at Hines Hill from the federal government, and then we average around $2 million every year. Next slide. This is just a snapshot of our 2025 revenues and expenses. Every year we project what we think the revenues and expenses are going to be. We projected last year and budgeted the revenues at $31 million. Revenues came in at $34 million, so we were a little bit over by $3 million. And again, that's the carryover that we'll be talking to council later this summer about. The expenses were pretty much about where we thought they would be, 33.8 to 33.1. So we were right there for the 25 expenses, which is good. Next slide. This is just our forecast for 2026, and you can see we have $32 million. Oh, it looks like it's the two's fallen down. I'm sorry about that. I guess it's going down. I don't know how that happened. I'm not a tech guy, so that's the best joke you're going to get out of an engineer. So, but the general fund, we're projecting $32 million. Expenses are $33 million, and you're probably saying, well, geez, you're $1 million over. But typically, we always end up the year, we don't finish, or we don't start any projects at the end of the year, and they move into, say, 27. But we also have a $3 million carryover from last year, so that's why we over-budgeted expenses and projects. If you are working from home, I have to put this plug in, please make sure your employer is paying taxes to, your local taxes are going to Hudson for any days that you are home. That helps us to put that money back into the roads and all the infrastructure in the city. So I have to put that plug in. We see a lot more people working from home, and it's really a good thing to make sure that they know to tell their employers that. Next slide. We're getting into some fun stuff. This is the economic development. Again, sorry about the numbers falling. 23 new businesses came into the city. We have a 93% retail occupancy. People have asked me that. You know, Tom, I don't see anybody downtown. The stores and what have you are vacant. And I asked our staff to give me that information. We have one of the lowest rate post-pandemics of any leases that are going on. And Gemco last year did a 10,000 square foot addition on Hudson Industrial Parkway, and that was fantastic. We're seeing businesses come back to the city with their staff. A lot more people are not working from home. They're actually asking them to come back into the office. So, next slide. This is District 11. It's the South Darrow corridor. This came out of the comp plan. We discussed it last night at council. Right now we're going to put a 60-day, we'll be voting on it in May. There was a few questions people had. Mainly the grocery came up last night, and I would say the bottom one there on the ads is multi-family residential townhomes, and what is that? And Dr. Getz and I were just sitting here speaking, and I just think we need to do a better job of defining that, and we're going to get that information out to the public. We'll have public meetings. We'll have another public hearing. We're not trying to hide anything here. We're trying to make this site a viable site for developers in the future, and obviously we want to always keep with the Hudson charm and also, you know, work with all of our different groups. So looking forward to seeing more discussion on District 11, and we lost approximately 600 jobs with that, but we were able to weather the storm pretty much. We had a feeling that they might be scaling back over the next few years. We didn't know they were going to leave that abruptly, but we were able to plan for that a little bit ahead of time with some of the carryovers we had in the past. Next slide. This is an exciting slide here. We have Many companies, businesses are expanding in the city, as you can see. Ramco is going to be adding 50 new jobs. Keltec is adding 175 new jobs. They're both in the Hudson Industrial Parkway. CHEA is doing a $22 million addition of 180,000 square foot. They're at the end of Hudson Crossings there. Spectrum is just added last week. We had a ribbon cutting. Dr. Getz and I were there with the mayor. It was 145 jobs they're looking to bring. And then Temp Precision is bringing in 40 employees. This is really good news. Overall, we're getting an additional 400 new jobs in the city. So again, and we're seeing a growth of more developments coming in. So plan to see that. If I'm here next year, I'll be saying that same thing. Next slide. This is Clinton Crossing. This is the former downtown Phase 2. We renamed it in honor of Clinton. 20,000 square foot Market Hall is going in. Down there in the lower, the cyan light blue is about where that would be. That's the former Windstream, right near the library and at the end of Clinton Street. We have 50 residential homes are going in there, mainly townhomes. Hopefully everybody asks this question, first floor masters, 2-car garages. So we hope to see that get built. Right across the street, I'll go into that in a minute, but we also have some other townhomes going in on Owen Brown and Morris Road, so we're looking forward to that. This Market Hall, if you've been up to the Van Aken district, we kind of got that idea from them, and they have a nice Market Hall up there, so we think that lines up perfectly with what the comprehensive plan was. They wanted something for the public on the south side, and they wanted housing on the north side. Traffic-wise, I know this is always a question with everybody. The previous 2 plans had a lot of commercial development in them. This doesn't. So can you imagine one day the Saturday farmers market being indoors every day? We could have it all year if we wanted to. So that's what's nice about the Market Hall. We haven't defined exactly what's all going to be going in there. The things on the table could be incubators. They could be shared spaces where people who work from home are able to have a conference with people that come into town to meet with them. There'll be a small cafe, things like that to help serve. And I think it'll be a great addition to our downtown. And it's not stealing any businesses or anything from anybody. Next slide. This is just some of the developments that are going in. We have 18 new downtown townhomes. They're going in the old Farinacci Pizza. So those 18 townhomes are going in there. I believe they are all having elevators in them. They'll be 3 stories high. And if they don't have an elevator in it, it will be plumbed up and ready for an elevator if you need one. There's 10 new single-family homes going out on 303 out by our water plant. If you've seen the construction on the north side by the big lake there. There's only 10 houses going in there. It's more of a conservation district type subdivision. So really nice. And that's the map of it right there in the middle. The cottages there in the green. So not that many homes. We also have 29 new townhomes going in across from Goodyear and Drug Mart there on that private road. And basically that'll be a nice addition over in that area. And then lastly, we have 11 houses going down on Norton Road, which I think they're past the halfway mark. I think they're probably in 6 or 7 houses down there in that development. So that's all good news. That's 68 new homes, to add to the inventory in the city. And I know real estate agents are always looking for more houses to be built because people want to move in the city because of our great schools and great parks, and it's a safe town. Next slide. This, as always, Hudson is voted, and it's always in the top 10 of, best places to live, basically because our schools, they're safe, and our parks. I think we all know that. I think that's why a lot of us moved here. And it's literally always a great thing, and we always like showing that each time. Going on to next slide is the public safety. This is fire and EMS. We'll be seeing big changes at fire and EMS this year. We had 713 fire calls last year, 2,600 EMS calls. So that just gives you an idea of the difference of how many calls there are to EMS, and they do a fantastic job. After 176 years of volunteerism in the fall of this year, we will be going to a 24/7 fire department. And I can't say enough and to thank anyone who's been a volunteer for our fire department over all the years. It's been wonderful. The group, I think we did a good job of trying to merge into this slowly and surely, and we're doing renovations, and I believe they're going to be starting here in the next few days out there at Fire and EMS, and I want to see them both get nice facilities and safe facilities with everything they need. So kudos to everybody in the Fire and EMS department. They do a fantastic job for us. Next slide. Public safety. Police, you know, they're always busy. As you can see, 26,000 calls a year to, you know, the dispatchers and police, and we answer every one of them. We are always out there trying to make sure that the streets are safe. Last year, the police chief reinstated the bike patrol with brand new e-bikes. They're over there in the middle of the screen. That's a picture of them, and they are super fast, and they also give us more, you know, you can't sit in a squad car, a police cruiser, and people can't feel you, you know, but when you're on a bicycle and they see you in the parade and everything, they can come up to you, and it's just a little less intimidating for everybody. So these bikes go super fast, which is awesome, and we've used them for a couple of bike events that we have had in the city with different agencies, so that they have come in really good. Perry and his team do a great job. Chief Tabak was recognized with the Patriot Award, which he does support anyone on staff that is being deployed. So we had one gentleman who was deployed for a few years, and again, they came and gave Perry the award for that, because we let that person go and be into other countries. I believe he was in the Middle East last, so that was good. He was there for over a year. The next slide. This is the map you all have. It's their capital project map. We do it every year. Over the next 5 years, we're going to have 120 projects that are in the capital budget. Going back to our budgets, our operating, which is our staffing and everything else, and our capital budgets are all planned out for 5 years. Very few communities I know actually do that. They don't do both. They'll do capital, but they won't do operating. That's how we always know we're going to be fiscally responsible and how we can plan ahead. And I'm kind of the person in the room that's always saying to the finance people, well, what if? What if this company leaves? Or what if we don't get this company in? So all that stuff is played out about this time of the year. I'll start talking to them in March through June, and then we start on next year's budget in July. And then we present it to council by September. And recently, in the last few years, I think we've gone through council pretty quickly with our budget, because they're well informed from the year before. So take a look at the map. We have projects going everywhere in the city, and it's kind of a dance. We coordinate. Just a little bad news for everybody. I just found out yesterday the Stowe Road out north of Middleton under the I-480 bridge will be closed starting St. Patrick's Day week for 240 days. So I wanted to make sure that our engineering staff talked to our public safety forces, made sure that they knew where everything. We do have Pine Trails, we do have Ravenna Road. Those areas are in Hudson up by Robinson's Nursery, so we want to make sure that we're able to get up there, and also mention to the chiefs that we want to, make sure that we call out mutual aid as quickly as we can for that area. Next slide. This is our new Public Works facility. Show of hands. Does anybody know that we've been leasing a building for Public Works for over 30 years? Yeah, yes, on Georgetown Road. I don't know of any community that does that, and when I first got here, I realized I was in the evaporator works, and people, my boss was up at Town Hall, and we had other people in the evaporator works and some in First and Main. We were spread out all over. Now that we have the new City Hall, basically this was the last piece of that leasing program, and I'm happy to know that Public Works is going to be put in that building. The estimate on that project, everybody says how everything's very high. The estimate on this project I didn't agree with. They said it was going to be $29 million. I kind of made a bet to my directors that I thought it was going to come in around $26 million, and they proved me wrong. It came in at $20 million, and the highest bidder of 8 bidders was $23 million. And anyone who knows bidding, On 20 million, if you have a $3 million difference, that is like really close, especially after 8 bids. So the plans were done right, and basically we got all good bidders. And apparently from their past experience, this company's been around 125 years in Cleveland, and they are going to be building the building, and we are happy that they are. So again, it's a great facility for Public Works, and I'm glad. A lot of people don't think about Public Works, but they are also one of my safety forces. Those fire trucks and EMS vehicles cannot get out unless those plow trucks are doing their job. So they'll be indoors. They'll have a longer lifespan. We used a cold storage building in the back to make sure that we weren't spending a lot of money on square footage to store things like transformers and other materials that need to be indoors, but they don't need to be heated. So we built a cold storage building in the back. We will have our own gas pumps. All of the safety forces and everyone who has a vehicle can go there and get their vehicles gassed up. We'll have an indoor truck wash. That's a car wash too, so they can go in there if they want to wash their vehicles. And the maintenance garage. Right now we're in that warehouse. It's actually not a garage. It's not like a service garage. This is going to give them a service garage facility with the lifts and everything, and it's going to make everybody a lot more efficient. So looking forward to that. Trying to see if there was anything else on this. That is all on Public Works. Next slide. This is kind of neat. I happen to be talking to the Hudson High School 11th graders. I left there because I always come in about 11 and do my speech. And last year, and then I went up Stowe Road and I saw that the property across from the high school stadium was lowered. And I made a call to the 2 owners who were Hudson residents. One of them used to be. And anyhow, I talked to them and said, hey, I'm really interested. We still have a partnership in a sense if the schools wants to get involved in it, but I felt like we needed to get this property before anybody else did. Council approved it. Those batteries right there don't make a lot of noise. So I don't want, a lot of people will say, oh my gosh, the data centers or something, that's battery storage. 1 acre of those batteries are going to be, there's 12 acres out there. We're going to build a 1 acre pad. It'll pay for itself, according to our staff and to AMP, who is our local state of Ohio electric service division, have said that, we've done some studies. So they're saying 2 to 3 years, even if it's 4 years, it'll pay for itself in 4 years. It's a battery backup. Basically, we take the electricity when it's at the lowest cost per kilowatt, usually at night. We store it in the batteries, and then we put it back out on the grid when it's at the higher cost. So again, hopefully keeping the lights on in everyone's house. The schools are right across the street. Those are things that I think are very important to our area. Our substation's right there, so that made perfect sense. And we still have 11 acres to do whatever we want. This other one over here, I know it's not kind of a sexy thing here, but we are drilling. We have 5 wells at our water treatment plant. We are re-drilling well number 2. So we're not adding any wells. We're just drilling a new well. It's past its life, and we need to get that drilled. So we have a grant for that from Representative Sykes. And then last but not least, over there is the bridge over Hines Hill. That's sort of the rendition. Hines Hill Road will remain open during the entire construction. We'll be building the bridge on the south side. I probably won't be here by then. That's going to open in like 2030. So basically, I would love to see the road connect and a ribbon cutting in one weekend, and people start using the overpass, because it's going to be a wonderful thing. $17 million was granted on this project, and basically it's $19 million total. So that is why we had such a high grant in this last year, and it's a great project. Moving on, next slide. Fiber to the home. This is an $18 million investment in our city. We are taking fiber to anywhere there is not currently fiber. So if you have Kinetic or you have Spectrum and they have fiber on that street, we're concentrating on all the areas that do not have fiber. Everything in yellow is pretty much going to be worked on this year. It's a 4-year project. The previous council wanted to make sure in that subcommittee, and the current, the councilman of the whole wanted to make sure we hit all 4 corners of our community every year with fiber. So if it's not, you can easily go on our website too and see when it's going to be coming into your neighborhood. And that's it on the fiber, which we're really looking forward to, and we already have many projects going on that. Next slide. Parks. We did do we got a grant for this ADA boat dock and kayak ramp, which is in the top corner over there on the right. We also put in some sunshades at the splash pads, and we did the new trail that goes across Barlow Road there by Little Tykes. We still are working on the railroad crossing. We just heard last week we might be getting about $350,000 for that $1 million crossing, so that's good. Sorry, Wood Hollow is spelled wrong. It should be an O. So anyhow, I saw that this morning when I was looking at that. The next slide. This is the inclusive playground. That is Oak Grove Playground. There is a ball field up there at the top of the screen out by Barlow Road. Little Tykes parking lot there is on the left side of that yellow line. That's a trail that goes along from Barlow Road over to Duffield. The playground will go in the middle of that parking lot, if you've been out there, behind the haunted house, about centered. We kept the parking down by the 2 ball fields, which is for Little League. And then we're adding a new restroom facility there that will have water, adult changing tables, and other things. It is the largest and I think all-inclusive playground still in the county. And thank you to the state, Casey Weinstein, Christina Rogner. They all got money for us for that. The Summit DD got money for this, for the equipment, the first phase of the equipment. We had almost close to $1 million in private donations in 2 years. That's just unbelievable, and that just shows how the city is always giving. And then the city's council put up the rest of the money to make this a reality. It is breaking ground this week, and it will have a ribbon cutting probably in June. And some people over the weekend were asking, hey, can't we have a big event for the groundbreaking? And I said, I do groundbreakings on certain things. And I said, for example, I'm not doing a groundbreaking on the public works because there's nowhere to park, there's no restrooms, and it's just a wooded field. And I said, to me, it's a better place to have the public works be a ribbon cutting. And then when it came to the inclusive playground, I just honestly can't have little children come there and see a bunch of politicians digging with their white hard hats on, and then you tell them, well, we'll see you in 3 months. You're not going to play. I want to see the ribbon cutting, and I'd love to see the children all run in at one time. And it's like, it is now open, and go have fun. And hopefully some parents will be around the fence and hopefully catch a picture of their kid being the first one on any one of the things that they're building there on the playground. It is wonderful. The zip line, they have a dual zip line. All of this is ADA and inclusive for everybody. There is, to my knowledge, there's no symbol for inclusive playgrounds. And I thought to the HIP group, I mentioned, hey, why don't we come up with that and make it an international symbol? Because I happen to go there, and Pat said, I have 4 children. 2 of them no longer are in my house, which is great. One of them came home for the weekend, and we walked over there with the dog, and I live right near there, and he said, Dad, can I ask you something? He goes, if it's an inclusive playground, why do you have to say the word inclusive? And I went, you know what? He is so right. And you have to have that other person take a look at it. So long story short, I asked, instead of having that name on there, can we come up with a symbol so if you're driving from out of town and you see a playground and you see that symbol, wouldn't that be great to know that that's an inclusive playground? So I think, I'd love to see a challenge of our HIP group and others in the community who might want to come up with that, and hopefully that group will be able to make that. So the next slide. This is the Ellsworth Golf Course. For the Chamber State of the City, I asked that it be there this year because we spent $2.7 million on this. It's all out of golf revenue. Our rounds of golf they used to be at like 34 to 35,000 a year. They've been hovering above 45,000 and more. So it's a great facility. If you haven't gone out there, I went there for the Michigan-Ohio State game, and I got one of the simulators.
Yeah, here we go.
Hello? Yeah, there you go. Oh, there you go. Okay. So, yeah, Ellsworth Golf Course, we got the 4 simulators in there. It was 100% funded by the Golf Fund, and we have seen increasing rounds every year. I think not last year, I think the year before we had 55,000 rounds of golf. It might be weather related too. So as you can see, pre-COVID there, we were at 35,000. They're doing really well. We're looking at staffing. We're still working out some of the fine bugs out there at Ellsworth Golf Course. But if you haven't been to it, by all means, go have something to eat. It has a beautiful dining room, the patio outside looking over the 18th hole. I asked the staff if they can maybe light up some of the trees at night and, you know, have yourself a drink and get yourself some good food. They have a really nice menu there. So I wish everybody can get out there. It was opened on October 17th last year. Next slide. Events in Hudson. We had 187 public events last year, and that helps the businesses, helps to bring people to our downtown and to other areas of our town. This year we're looking to have art on the green again, so there's one key thing that it'll no longer be at Joann's. It was the last year it was there. And one of the big things, well, the first thing we did last year was that the stair climb. And I know Dr. Getz and I were both there, and I think I did one tower, somebody told me. I didn't do both. So, but that was a great event. And then in 2026 is the 20th anniversary of the 9/11. So again, we're going to be doing that this year. Our fireworks in the wintertime in downtown have been fantastic. But that's some of the events we had last year, and I look forward to more events this year. In the next slide. Next slide. There you go. Thank you. It is our America 250th. We have a number of things planned. We're going to have a better 4th of July. We're going to have some food out there. It's going to be a little bit longer. It'll be starting in the afternoon and then end at night with some fireworks. The fireworks, we doubled than what we've done in the past, so we're really looking forward to that. We have a community picnic that we're asking the public to come out to, and many other things that you can see on that list right there. So the one major thing is our legacy project, which is the next slide, Kyle. And there it is. That's our green. We talked about it, our gazebo on the green. We talked about it last night at council. We were looking at a handicap ramp around the entire circumference of the gazebo a few renditions ago. I think we kind of decided that was going to be a little bit too overwhelming for the gazebo. Most people wanted to keep paint the gazebo, get it fixed up. We're going to replace the steps. We'll replace some of the rotted boards and things. It's not too bad. It's basically the boards would be on the stair rails, and then we will build the plaza around it. It'll go up to final approval on the 17th of this month for City Council. And our public works people are going out there already, I believe in the next week, to start putting out under drains in that area because it gets kind of muddy over on the corner of East Main and Church Street there. So we're doing some improvements. We thought that was the best project. It's 50 years old. It was done during the bicentennial and just had a lot of meaning to it. We did call in the stakeholders that use the facility probably, I think it was in January or early February. We talked to them, and they had some great ideas. One of our residents in town, who I won't say who, but owned a bookstore at one time. So I'll let you guys figure that one out. A little trivia there. But she gave me a stairs and a lift, and she sent it to me over the weekend one day, and I just thought, my gosh, that's perfect. That's exactly what we were looking for. It's a set of stairs, 39 times out of 40. If someone who has accessibility issues, you can wheel up your wheelchair. It will fold the stairs down to a lift, move your wheelchair on, and it'll lift you up to the gazebo, and now the gazebo is fully accessible to anyone, but it looks like a set of stairs. It'll always be in the stairs. It won't have any giant, big, actually, like your lift over here. It's just a set of stairs. So if you just look at that, the railing going up, it'll have 2 railings, and it'll be a set of stairs, and those stair treads will just fold down by the push of a button. You can't get anything jammed underneath it. It has safety things. It has a battery backup. I will have a button put on it that will be able to call dispatch in case there's anybody who needs it, and we'll put a camera on it for safety so that nobody's monkeying around with it. So I think we've covered it pretty well. I think it'll be a great accent, and it'll give everybody accessibility to the gazebo. So that is a wonderful legacy for the 250th anniversary of our community, and we got a lot of input from the community on that, so that's great. I don't think there's anything else on that. Next slide. Getting to the end here. Anniversaries. 200 years, WRA. That's just crazy. I can't believe that. But congratulations to WRA on their 200th anniversary. Imagine David Hudson planning the school by candlelight. Today, they are a beacon of light known all over the nation and the world. Their oak tree has over 70,000 lights on it, and I assume everyone has seen that. I actually send people when they come into town to see me, family. I make sure they stay till it's dark, and then I send them up that way to get back on the turnpike. Basically, it's a wonderful tree. So did talk to the WRA people, and they're thinking maybe they might keep it, but they're going to have it at least through this year. So everyone, you can get out there and see it. And congratulations to WRA. What a great partner they've been with the city. Next slide. Peg's Foundation, can't say enough. I love that statement right there that Peg said. If you can't read it, it says, "What we do for ourselves dies with us. What we have done for others and the world lives on," which is exactly like what we do in Hudson every day. And I mimic that. I try to every day I'm here. So great statement by Peg's. 25 years of philanthropy and mental health and the arts. And again, I love the team over at Peg's Foundation. They do a great job. Last slide is the closing. First of all, thank you again for letting me speak here today. It's always a joy to see everybody here at the Rotary. In closing, Hudson remains very financially strong. We continue to honor the past and look to the future. From the inclusive parks to the fire staffing to a new public works facility with over 120 new capital projects over the next 5 years, we have a lot going on in Hudson, and everyone here should be very proud. Thank you, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Tom. What a wonderful time to be part. Is it working now?
Yeah.
Okay, I was going to run back and forth, but if that's working, that's great.
Testing.
Okay, good.
Actually, I'll lead off.
I didn't need the exercise, but.
Two quick questions. For the firefighter and EMS operation, are you going to have firefighter EMS people who do both?
Yes, we're hiring, I believe, 10 outside of the city firefighters in the next month, and we'll be bringing them on. Most of them are dual trained.
Yeah.
So to answer that question is yes, that is one of the things. In the future, if ever they go to a full-time fire, most communities have dual fire and EMS personnel.
And then the other question is for the exclusive playgrounds. Thinking of Barlow, which I know wasn't on the map because there was one citizen who objected to it, but that equipment probably needs to be replaced soon. And so my question is, as we replace equipment in the other parks, are we going to look to have equipment that's inclusive?
No, that's a great question. Yes, we are. We will. We do annual replacements on each of the parks every year. They're in that 5-year capital budget under the parks funding, and we will be making those inclusive.
Tom, just making a few connections here. I love that quote from Peg Morgan. I'd never heard that one before, but consistent with that, there's the Legacy Project, the bandstand, and those of you who may know details more than I do, but the Morgans were our next door neighbors, and I was always told Bert played a big role in the funding of that bandstand, the bandstand that we have, and I've always thought it's just a beautiful, really one of the most elegant architectural structures in our community, and I value it so much, and I'm grateful to the Morgans for making that happen to us. Also in the world of philanthropy, I'll throw one other thing on there. You had the inclusive playground, and I believe our friends with the Hudson Garden Club recently approved or are making a contribution to create some sort of a sensory garden that will be adjacent to the inclusive playground. So I think that's focused largely on kids and adults who maybe have some developmental disabilities as well, but it'll be a sensory garden, smells, touches, sounds, things like that. So that's just a really nice thing, and I think it's also going to be a nice addition. So
And that's good to hear that they passed it.
yeah.
It wasn't part of the original plan, but we did leave them space, and we kind of put a square on the map to say that's what would be going there one day, along with a couple other things that other groups wanted to put together.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, just curious, how does the city set priorities on engineering projects like sidewalks and paving roads? In other words, how do you decide what roads to pave when and what sidewalks to put in when?
That's a great question. Every 2 to 3 years, our entire city streets our paving of our streets is ranked. We have an outside company come in. They actually use technology and are able to almost like laser all of our streets and determine what condition they're in. They're rated on a 0 to 100, 100 being brand new, 90 being maybe 1 year old, and then we're in the 50 to 60 range is usually where we're resurfacing. That's the streets. On sidewalks, we did a connectivity plan years ago, 2020, in the middle of the pandemic. We had a lot of remote meetings with residents. We came up with a 5-year plan for all those sidewalks you see going in. We have pretty much completed that this year. You'll see one on Stowe Road from State Route 303. If you're familiar with the Hasbrook Farm, it'll go down to Ravenna, and then from Ravenna at Stowe Road, it'll go over to Hayden. So those are 2 long-distance sidewalks. The construction on the Ravenna sidewalk is undergoing right now. You'll see construction between Hayden and Stowe Road, and then later this spring, you'll see they'll start construction on Stowe Road between Ravenna and 303. That's how we do those. So they're rated. Oh, that was part of that plan. Is we ranked them in the plan. I'm sorry, I didn't get to that level of detail, but we ranked them. How do they connect to parks? How do they connect to schools? How do they connect to our downtown? And those list of all different criteria that they wanted to see how each segment of sidewalk would fulfill those goals, and that's how they became ranked. So.
Good morning, Tom.
Morning.
Great job on your presentation, and to your team that put it together for you. Question and statement. Question is, because I live down by American Fireworks, and I think a lot of people that travel 91 go over the bridge. I believe that's a state project, obviously, right?
Yeah, the turnpike, yep.
So do we have a final conclusion? Do you know of any final conclusion date, since I go over that bridge 3 or 4 times a day? When it'll be completed?
Oh, when will it be completed? Honestly, it's sometime this year, but I don't know exactly when. I could find out.
Yeah, just text me, email me.
Yep. And then they're moving to Prospect Street. It's a great question. They're going to move from 91, and then they're going to be redoing the deck on Prospect Street over the turnpike next.
Okay, that was my question. And then I'm going to make a statement, because I checked with Marilyn Orr last night, and I'm allowed to give a fellow Rotarian a compliment, right, Marilyn? Well, we're not here to plug and promote business. We're here to promote community, right? So Terry Bortnick got the listing from my mom's house, and she sold the condo within 4 days in Hudson Commons. And this also goes back to Tom's comment about the realtors and the more units being built and all that. As everybody knows, there's not a lot of units for people to downsize in Hudson, especially when they've lived in a colonial, whatever. So within 4 days, Terry Bortnick got us full asking price. and a cash deal. And I just want to say thank you, Terry. I know she's not here, but we need to compliment our fellow Rotarians from time to time in their businesses.
I have a question on your District 11 rezoning. Why are you removing auto repairs from that area?
We
What?
just, oh, I'm sorry, do you have something else?
No, I'm just curious because there are not that many auto repair places in Hudson.
Yeah, that was exactly it. They just didn't want it in that district because they felt that they had it up in the 8 district, which this was a part of. So it was part of 8, and we had other areas that we could use that. We didn't need it in this, into the new area. So anything that's there now will be grandfathered, but the city council subcommittee didn't want to have any more added.
The other question goes back to the bandstand. When did it become a gazebo? It's always been a bandstand. And why all more paving in the park, eliminating green?
And the paving, that's a great question. We talked to council last night. We want to use pervious paving. So basically what's out there now in concrete, we would reduce that and make it all pervious pavement, which would actually return it to kind of its quote unquote green. I think Mimi had her hand up. More?
Yep, more.
Not done.
Not done. In regards to the celebration, the 250th anniversary, what are you doing to honor the early founders of this community, particularly at the Draper Cemetery and the old burial ground on Chapel Street?
Nothing currently, but we're open to any celebrations this year. That's something I can bring up to the cemetery board. I'd be happy to do that.
It would be good because it's better to me to honor those that built this community.
Oh, I agree. And anybody who has any suggestions, please see me after this because I'd still like to have some more events. I don't think that slide had enough. Barney, you can't ask any more questions, I guess.
As a member of the cemetery board, I'd like to report that we are starting year 3 of a project to straighten and fix monuments and headstones that are in those cemeteries you mentioned. And Old Burying Grounds was actually the very first one that was completed. If you go past it, it's nice and straight, everything lines up, nothing's on the ground, it really looks nice. We'll be doing this year the O'Brien Cemetery, and then Markeely is the last, Markeely and St. Mary, and we'll be done with that project. So just a heads up on that, okay?
Is that a play on words, just a heads up? Heads up? All right, Mimi, only one question.
Okay, I want to go back for a second to the issue of sidewalks, and wondering if there is a way that the city could facilitate some kind of workshop for the people who are now responsible for shoveling those sidewalks. Because I noticed as I've been driving around town that we have sidewalks, but somehow they don't know about sidewalks and shoveling if it runs by your house.
We like to
Well-
we like to start the statement of calling them snow angels.
Yes.
So if you're next
And,
door,
and that's one of the things, because they may not know that they are now responsible.
Correct.
And also, I'm aware that a number of towns have rules about how long you can wait before you shovel after a snowstorm so that you don't impede public safety.
Yeah, absolutely. Dr. Getz took this on, I think, in December and January. It's a great point, Mimi. We already met with the schools, and Dana Addis. He has some groups that he can help do some sidewalks around the schools for areas just so those children who walk to the schools can get there. He already has sort of a program. Our public works director met with him, I believe, in the last month. I don't know if it was 2 or 3 weeks ago, but it was somewhere in that time frame. Also, getting out to homeowners associations. People don't know. I mean, if you have a snow blower, maybe that neighbor down the street is not able to do it. You don't know your neighbors as much anymore. We're all busy. We all stay indoors. We're all on our phones and everything else. we have a list of all the homeowners associations in the city, and basically if we can get out to them and say, hey, can you help your neighbors, be a snow angel? And then Dr. Getz asked, hey, Tom, is there any way we can do this almost like the senior snow plowing of driveway program? We were looking to get that put on last year, but we didn't. We just waited. And this year, I think it's going to be something we'll be adding to this coming year for any senior citizens that qualify. Will be able to have their driveway snow plowed and then also have their sidewalks, done. Well, in another community, the mayor asked for this to be done, and I said, no problem. We went and talked to the schools, and the football team, in the winter, their season's over. It's kind of wrestling, I guess I would call it, season. And we got with the coaches and the athletic director, and they would bring out the football players because they were off. When you had a heavy snowstorm, that they were available, and they would drive them, and they would do a number of areas and all that, and it was a good civil service thing that they did for the community. But we're working on it, and we hope to have something in place, and then by this, well, not by this year, but the end of this year, so it's ready to go for next winter.
Tom, just one more question.
Dr. Bird did an interesting thing is he contacted everybody in his neighborhood and found out who had snow blowers and came up with a system that they took care of each other. I know in my neighborhood I have a little snow blower and my two neighbors are older than me, and so I go all the way up my side of College Street. So that's what we were thinking of, having like neighborhood captains. But there are things we hope to get in place by next winter. Hopefully we don't have much snow, but who knows?
No, we call Dr. Bird's neighborhood snowbirds. So. I'm trying. It's morning.
Just curious about the vacancy of law enforcement positions in Hudson. I mean, it's this nationwide problem. Do we have vacancies in our police department right now that are unfilled?
No.
No?
No, we're fully staffed.
Planning on doing some larceny there, Patrick?
Actually, you know what? I take that back. We are still waiting on one. So we have one, yeah.
Do we have any other questions for Tom?
Well, thank you, everybody.
All right, let's have a big round of applause. We'll do it 1 second here real quick. I'll bring it down to you. All right. That was a great presentation. So at this point of the meeting, we do have a little bit of time. Well, 2 minutes, not that much time. But do we have any open announcements from the club that they'd like to make before we end the meeting?
I misplaced it, but I did bring in some sheets about the Ohio tax credit kindergarten scholarship program for anybody who's in the process of preparing their taxes. I'm rebranding this as a zero net cost program because you give the money to the charity who awards the scholarships, and then the state gives you the money back. So it's zero net cost to the donor.
All right, thank you. Patrick, do we have enough people for the Boy Scouts cleaning project over at the camp? Are we in good shape there?
I think everybody who's here has already seen it. So.
Okay, very good. So we'll move on to our Rotobuck raffle. Today we...
Remind everybody that where we are next week.
I will do that, yes, thank you. Since Andy brought it up, I'll remind you now. So next week we will be having a special meeting of the club over at the Boy Scout cabin. It's a very important meeting. I'd like to make sure everybody who can attend will be there, discussing the club and so forth. So please plan on being at the club next week for the presentation. And then we will now move on to the Rotobuck raffle, which has a payout today of $7 and a jackpot of $124. So Tom, would you like to pick the lucky winner?
The number is 3242282.
22A2. We got a winner.
Thank you, Tom. All right, Marilyn. Here, I'll let you take a quick look to see it's in there. Okay. Ooh, you had your finger on it. Your finger touched it. You were so close. But it keeps going. So thank you, Marilyn. Here's your winnings right here. So here you go. You're welcome. Thank you. All right, so we'll end the meeting. I did have a inspirational quote for the week, but you know what? I think the one that Peg Morgan had was really appropriate, and so I'm just going to use that one. And again, it's what we do for ourselves dies with us. What we have done for others and the world lives on. So with that, I'd like to end our meeting. Everybody have a great week, and I'll look forward to seeing you next Wednesday. Take care.